Hi, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday morning, March 24th, 2022. Our devotion for today is from Luke 13, verses 1 to 3, and this was from our gospel reading last Sunday. Now, there were some present at that time who told Jesus about the Galileans, whose blood Pilate had mixed with their sacrifices. Jesus answered, "Do you think that these Galileans were worse sinners than all the other Galileans because they suffered this way? I tell you, no. But unless you repent, you too will all perish." It's a lot easier to shake our heads in disgust than it is to bow our heads in shame. In other words, we're more than willing to get out our metaphorical magnifying glass to see the sins of the people around us better. But we're not nearly as willing to subject ourselves to the same scrutiny. Things weren't all that different in Jesus' day, especially when disaster struck. It was common reasoning that the victims had committed some sin to make God mad. And the worse the disaster, the angrier God must have been. Our Bible reading tells us today that about some sort of altercation at or near the temple in Jerusalem, and the blood of the worshippers ended up being mixed with the sacrifices they were bringing. Apparently, it was a situation where it was a special day because they were allowed in the temple to offer those sacrifices. So while they were doing a holy act, they were killed by the Romans. And so then that's where we get this story about the blood of the worshipers being mingled with the sacrifices they were offering. Judging by Jesus' no nonsense response, one wonders if maybe the conversation included a question that reflected the popular thought at the time: who sinned? Whose sin caused this to happen? Well, Jesus puts those thoughts to bed right away. Do you think that these Galileans were worse sinners than all the other Galileans because they suffered this way? I tell you, no. But unless you repent, you too will all perish. Do you see what happened? Jesus took the magnifying glass out of their hands and got them to look in the mirror instead. It might be hard to hear, but we depend on Jesus to lead us away from the false security that comes from dwelling on the sins of others and lead us to a place where we can see our own desperate need. Only there, crushed and broken by the mountain of God's law, can we marvel at the mercy that the Redeemer from heaven shows us in putting us back together in the promises of God. That's where we find true security, the kind that lasts forever. We pray, Holy Spirit, deliver me in mercy from the temptation to focus on the sins of others. Lead me to see my own need and to rejoice in the security found in Christ Jesus. Amen. And isn't that so true, that we are sure happy to focus on the sins of other people when instead God calls us to look in our own lives, at our own selves, and see that the question really isn't so much what was their sin that caused them to suffer in that way, and instead ask the question, why is it that I'm not suffering for the sins that I commit? So we could say our sins are as bad, if not worse, than the sins of others who suffer some sort of disaster, as the Bible reading from Luke 13 tells us today. So ask that question. Ask, why am I not suffering the way others suffer after a disaster? You know, the thing is about this text is that kind of accusation was leveled against the people on 9/11 and the Twin Towers. The same kind of accusation was leveled against the people of New Orleans when Katrina struck in 2005. There were comments from religious leaders even that said those people must be really bad that they suffered such a disaster. See, they're asking the wrong question. They're making the wrong assumption, assuming that somebody has done something to merit that kind of disaster. When, like I said, the question ought to be, yes, we feel bad and we feel compassion for the people in those disasters, but the question is, why am I not suffering in that way because I'm as sinful as they are? See, that takes the focus off of somebody else and puts it where it belongs, on us and our sinful behavior. And when we make our confession, then we say, forgive me. uh, because of my sinful thoughts, words, and deeds. And then we can lay it all before Christ, our individual sins, the things that haunt us, that cause us guilt, and we can lay them at the feet of the cross, because then Jesus says, I forgive you then. And that's what we need to be doing. That's what we need to be about. All right. Well, we're off to a great start on Thursday morning here, a day after our Lenten services yesterday. And so we march forward to next Sunday. And I pray that all is well with you so far today, and may God's peace be yours.